Allow me to paint a picture. You're a powerful, world-ending individual who has everything to gain from each realm you conquer. However, you quickly face a dilemma. How do you conquer the whole galaxy with your own life being only so finite? Do you risk everything for one shot at immortality? This is the dilemma of Darth Noctyss. Not much is known of the origins of this ancient Sith. However, what we do know is that she was immensely powerful. And, as Dark Legends implies, at the time, she really had no one to topple her or rival her in terms of power. She was quite capable of taking over worlds and ruthlessly slaughtering her enemies. We also know that from the get-go, she was a very focused and ambitious individual. She was deeply obsessed with the idea of eternal life and seeked to invest it all she could into attaining it. She was quite the solitary figure. In fact, rather than getting an apprentice, she chose to invest all her time studying ancient rituals from old civilizations that may have had an extensive amount of knowledge in the Force. Throughout her time as a Sith, she found several methods of prolonging her physicality through the dark arts. However, that did not seem to slow down her thirst for immortality. In fact, it very much seemed to fuel it. Her extensive research finally led her to one place, the Sith planet of Exegol, a planet known for its dark and electric atmosphere. Exegol is primarily known for being the oldest Sith planet, and the same planet where Sidious hid in the Rise of Skywalker. In a cave after much time, Noctis found an odd, deformed creature, which seemingly managed to blitz her perception of the Force entirely. Said creature led her to the laboratory of sorts, which appeared to be full of ancient Sith runes and an ungodly amount of dust. There also seemed to be a series of interlocking circles on the floor. Akin to her Sith nature, Noctis was quick to enslave the creature and force it to work for her as a sort of laboratory slave. Noctis then dove into the former research of an old Sith Lord by the name of Darth Noctyss, and, in a race with her aging body, found what she ultimately was looking for all this time, the ability to live eternally, the secret to immortality. Yet, simplicity eluded her grasp, for she found herself entwined within a complex ritual spanning 3 days. Yet, the complexity didn't end there, it also needed a sacrifice. Fortunately for her, destiny placed a willing creature since day one. Finally, it was time to begin the ritual. Upon beginning this hellish sequence of events, she started to slowly hear distorted voices mixing with her own thoughts. Nonetheless, she continued and seeked to complete the ritual. Why stop when you already made it so far? As the rite began its final phase, Noctis swiftly approached the mysterious creature, who seemed oddly glad, and stabbed it with his dagger. Upon doing such, she attained a state of unreal spiritual prowess. This was a state of being which she had never felt before. In terms of power, many would argue that she has reached the maximum vitality that any mortal could have ever hoped to achieve. However, this feeling of power is rather short-lived, as Noctis goes from cries of triumph to cries of unimaginable pain. The voices she heard prior started to torment her, and she was hit with a sudden wave of regret and confusion. Her body instantly started to morph and started to deteriorate itself. She started to become much distorted. She tried to end the ritual. Unfortunately for her, it was far too late for that. At last, she turned into a beast, just as Darth Noctyss, the same Sith who had tried to achieve immortality and failed just as Noctis did. She stared back at the beast that was Noctyss. However, all she saw was a proud smile. Noctyss was now free from the chains of immortality. But how important is this Sith tragedy in the grand collection of media that is Star Wars? Well, to be exact, as I mentioned before, Noctis was actually quite powerful. As stated by Adam Christopher, given a 1v1 matchup against relevant and current characters, her saber would grant her quite the easy victory. However, I choose not to take this hyper literally, as we still haven't seen many feats or crazy statements about her aside from her name being dropped in a recent novel. What I can confirm, however, is that she should very much be confirmed to be canon, as not only was she referenced in an official databook, but, like I stated prior, she actually has quite some relevance within the recent bit of Star Wars media. As stated in Shadows of the Sith, like a fable from a darker time than a true historical record, and yet here it was, unique, unmistakable, the lightsaber of Darth Noctyss. But what are your thoughts on her powers and lore? Feel free to discuss in the comments below. With all that mentioned, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Adios.